Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Gavv, episode 41. We start our tale with the shocking news, since we start our tale with our favorite soap opera, As the Ganyu World Turns. And you see the two remaining stomach siblings and the Zell, and they're at the president's castle, and they just heard the news about Glotta's demise. And of course, there's no mourning, there's no tears, there's no nothing. And again, what do you expect from the stomach mafia, right? When Sheeta died, there were no tears. It's just business as usual. And then when Lango, quote unquote, passed away, again, there was still no mourning, no crying, or nothing except for Glotta. She was in disbelief, as well as Jeeb, as a powerful Ganyu such as Lango, like a half Ganyu, half human, this stain in our family, Shoma, defeated him of all Ganyuts? It's impossible. Well, I mean, Shoma's the king of sweets. What do you expect? But, and also the plot armor and all that. In any case, you know, Lango, as powerful as he was, well, is, he just didn't stood a chance. And then with Glotta, which is also powerful, she passed away. And, you know, everyone's in shock and disbelief, but no one is like crying or anything like that. Like, yeah, this family does not care at all. And Nave's like, well, what do you expect after Lango's passing? I mean, yeah, the Ganyu hunters are becoming too powerful. And Lizelle, my God, Lizelle is really like wife from hell, because Lizelle, you know, when she heard the news about Glotta's demise, she says, "Oh man, it sucks. I wanted to get to know her a bit more." I'm like, and Jeeb had the same reaction as I did when I heard her say that, because as she said that, Jeeb just gave that expression on his face as he is staring back at Lizelle, and he's like, "What? Seriously? Like, like, I can't believe you." He had the I can't believe you face, and I will show you a picture of the face, because I was having that same reaction. I'm like, what? Because let's face it, Lizelle never wanted to get to know Lango or Glotta or Nave at all. It's all about business. It's all about business. It's all about her with business and just mostly barking orders. Mostly it's been barking orders towards Lango, and then recently with Glotta, you know, because remember, she approached her and she was like, "Ugh, look at all these presses, all these low quality presses. Ew, no wonder you took so long." And Glotta's like, "What the hell are you talking about? These are like premium presses. I don't know what the hell you're talking about." Right? So they were having like a mini argument over presses. She never once wanted to get to know them at all. It's just, that's why I'm like, really? No, I don't believe you. It's mostly, you know, barking orders and just business as usual. So yeah, I wasn't with Nabe, you know, giving that look on his face. Like, yeah, that was the same look. I was like, no, Lizelle, be honest. You didn't care about them. So Papa President shows up and tells everybody that, okay, we're going to have a change of plans here, because Lango is gone, Glotta is now gone, and my order is once again, you know, on a standstill. So he decides that, hey, I think it's time to conquer Earth and turn it into a farm. So when he said that, I just automatically just remembering two TV shows. Well, actually, one TV show and one movie involving vampires. I recommend you guys watch The Strain, especially. And I think the movie is called Daybreakers, when all mankind got turned into vampires and whatnot, but mostly The Strain, because The Strain had a perfect example of what it would look like when vampires are taking control of the earth. You see all these farmhouses, and inside the farmhouses, you see these captured humans, and you see all these mechanics, and you see them getting sucked, the blood getting sucked away by these machines, pretty much like cattle. And that's what the president, is deciding to do. We will conquer Earth and turn the humans into livestock for our candy crack, right? And there's some things I need to point out. Point out the obvious. Like, first of all, the Kamen Riders are not going to allow you or anybody else, try to conquer Earth. I mean, they're still out there, right? That's one. And two, the humans now know the existence of Ganyuts. And if the Ganyuts decide to make their move on invading Earth, do you seriously think that the government will allow that to happen? And Shoma, Rakita, and Hanto will be the first ones in the front lines, advising the government, the army, of what they are, what they need to do, and what not. So the government, it's gonna protect their citizens, and I feel that, yes, the Ganyuts have an advantage in sort of super strength and other abilities that they have, but ultimately, I believe that mankind will get the upper hand and overthrow their invaders, aka the Ganyuts. So, and also, again, it's not just the Japanese government that's going to get involved. Every government known to man will get involved, because can you imagine if Japan gets taken over by these aliens? Do you seriously believe that countries like America, Russia, China, and any other country will stand by and allow that to happen to their country? And also, they have nukes. So we have something that Ganyuts don't have, which is nuclear weapons. So I'm just saying, like, if in real time the president decides to invade the the human world, yeah, there's going to be a few victories here and there, but ultimately, I believe that mankind will ultimately, win the war and push the Ganyuts back to whatever they came from. That's my belief. It's going to happen, but obviously, it's not gonna happen. But the president figures, okay, I'm gonna try to take over the world, and we're gonna mass produce dark treats that way. But there's always these factors, and also, where in the hell is the Ganyu rebels? Because I'm sure there are rebels out there in the Ganyu world who just despises the president at this point, because he looks like he's a corrupt president, and I'm sure the politics over there is really bad. I'm sure there has to be some kind of rebel alliance in the Ganyu world, which hasn't been revealed yet. So I'm very surprised that the citizens over there are happy with this president. But I'm just rambling on. But I'm just saying, the president's idea of conquering the earth, it will come with, it will come with a lot. The price will be too high. And and the Ganyuts, I'm sure they don't want humans invading their world and destroying it, right? I'm just saying. But, Nate points out, like I mentioned earlier, that the Kamen Riders are not going to allow this to happen. So the president wheels in this, this corpse, and he unveils the sheet, and he gets Nave gets a shocking look on his face, and that's how the scene ends. So we go to Shoma, the king of sweets and diabetes, and you see him shopping at his favorite candy store, and the candyman is concerned about Shoma's health because he assumes that, like, you've been eating a lot of snacks. Like, are you sure? Like, are you eating other than snacks and desserts? And Shoma rests assured, like, no, don't worry. I've been eating a well-balanced diet or meal. Don't worry. I'm also eating regularly. So, yeah, don't worry about it. I just have a sweet tooth. That's all. That is all. And the Candyman mentioned that he had a younger sister who also had a sweet tooth, and she always gets scolded by, by their parents, eating so much, junk food and desserts and all that. And so, yeah. And so, as Shoma leaves his favorite candy store, he has noticed two people acting all weird. And they were doing some repetitive things. Like, for example, he saw a man opening and closing his car, like on repeat. And he also noticed this woman sitting up and sitting down, sitting up, sitting down on repeat. And Shoma is like, what the hell is going on? And then he continues to leave. And then you see this hooded figure in the background, and he leaves. So after the opening credits, we go to the Happy Parade offices, and Sashika reports the same weird phenomenon that's going on. Like, she noticed a couple of people, doing things on repeat. She doesn't understood why this thing was going on. And Shoma said, let me check this out, but after lunch. Because he said, okay, well, that's weird. So maybe it has to do with a Ganyut or something. He doesn't know. He wants to check it out, but not until we have our lunch. Always after lunch. So we go from after lunch to Hanto. And once again, he's on a mission to find Shoma's extended family and led him to this apartment building with the name Inoue. Yeah, I'm going to butcher. You know me, guys. I'm going to butcher. Inoue. And this neighbor suggested that you should visit his store because it's not at home right now. And that's how the scene ends. And then we get to Rakita, who is bored out of his mind because ever since Glotta and Lango's defeat, there's hardly any part-timers to kick ass. So he is bored until he notices this strange man trying to eat this rock, assuming that he is a Ganyut. And then Shoma appears, and he goes down and checks this man out because he noticed that Rakita was approaching this man, asking questions, and, this man was all in panic mode, like he wants to eat this rock. And then Shoma shows up, lifts up his shirt, and lo and behold, he's a human. So he wonders, why is he trying to eat this rock? And again, once again, this hooded man in the background is there and just walks away. And then we get to the next scene where our heroes, and now including Sashika, brought this poor man to the hospital. And again, Shoma, Rakita, and Sashika were wondering what the hell is this phenomenon going on, because people are acting strange. And so we go to the next scene. Speaking of strange, we get to see the hooded man, and he shoots this poor civilian and told him to press a button at the vending machine, which he does. So apparently this man, this figure, can possess someone. Like, this is all mind control thing. And Nave shows up and was impressed of the results, and he realizes now that the president is more dangerous than he realized. And gee, you think now that the president wants to conquer the earth now? Like, seriously, Nave? As smart as you are, I mean, geez. You didn't pick up a couple of things? And so we go to a flashback where we left out in the first scene, with Nave's shocked face and everything. So we get this reveal that this body is a Ganyu body, and apparently this Ganyu had this unique ability of hypnosis. But this is something that I noticed, guys. When the president lifted off the sheet, you could only see the lower half of this said Ganyu. We never get to see the top half. Why? I have no idea. Maybe they did it on purpose, just cause, or maybe this corpse is someone important. That's why there was no reveal yet of who is this Ganyu. I don't know. And so we get to reveal the bottom half, and then we get to the next scene where Nave is doing surgery, and you notice that as Nave was operating on the Ganyu corpse, you see another bed. Only this time you only see the top half of a body. We don't see the lower half at all, which is strange. So it looked like he's trying to create his own Frankenstein's monster, apparently, right? So, and also just to add, it's also revealed that the said Ganyu went against, he wanted to become president as well, but he ended up getting assassinated by the president, and that's how he's dead. Yeah, just a little bit of background, backstory. So we go to Hanto. So Hanto's source, the neighbor, led him to Shoma's favorite candy store. And he met the candyman last week. And he's shocked to see the same man. And this is where he introduces himself and tells the man that I've been working on this his missing persons cases. And he asked, have you had a missing family member that's been missing for the past 20 years? And this is where we get this reveal that, have you heard about my little sister by the name of Michiru? And it's the same name that Shoma wrote on Hanto's notebook. See, guys, this is one of those things that I don't like about Kamen Rider, is how predictable Kamen Rider can be. And I told you guys from the beginning, ever since this character made his debut and he made his multiple appearances, that I wouldn't be surprised that he could be connected to Shoma. And I told you guys, I think last week or the week before, that I wouldn't be surprised that he could be his uncle. And after, learning a few things in a later scene, you realize that Hanto may have found the right person. So before I'll tell you the details how and all that stuff, we go to Sashika. We go back to the Happy Parade offices, and she does her research online, and she reads all these posts that apparently there's been people, noticing this strange phenomenon that's been going around, and also notices this strange hooded man always in the background. And then you see Rikita and Shoma with this map encircling all these spots, and you realize that those spots form like a circle. So it has to be connected. Everything is centered on this one specific area. So our heroes decide, let us check this area out. and see, okay, what is, what's going on? What's so special about this area? Why is it so, all this thing, right? So our heroes go to check it out. And then we go back to the Candyman and Hanto. And this is where the Candyman tells Hanto his story about what happened, okay? So he shows off his picture of his little sister and tells him she left for school but never returned. She had plans to go with friends the next day for a dessert banquet. There's no way that she could have run away. Like he hasn't seen any signs of her wanting to run away at all. It's just find it to be very weird for her to run away. So he assumes that, yeah, she's missing, but it's not because she ran away. I think she got kidnapped, at least what he thinks. He reveals that she has a sweet tooth. And he and his parents for years have been, holding on hope that someday she will return. But unfortunately, his parents didn't make it, and he's the only family member left. And, he's just gave up at this point. And then as, Hanto is listening, we get Hanto really connecting the dots here. We have flashbacks of him with Shoma eating a lot of candy, sweets, and he notices the picture, right? He notices the picture that this woman has some resemblance towards Shoma. So he is really connecting the dots, and he thinks that he has found the right person that could be Shoma's uncle. And so Hanto asks if he could take the picture. Well, take a picture for the cell phone, not take the only picture the poor man has. So he just, take the picture. And then all of a sudden he gets a phone call from Shoma, of all people. And unfortunately, he had to interrupt the interview, but tells him, like, look, I'll let you know if I find anything. And if I want any more information, I will come back and talk to you some more. And that was it. And as he leaves the store and he goes to whatever he needed to go, he just wonders if maybe now is the time for him to tell Shoma what he found and what could be, his uncle. But again, going back to what Shoma told him, that he is afraid of knowing, because I don't blame him after everything he has experienced. Like, he's afraid that if he would approach the said person or the said family, the family will just brush him off. He's afraid of that. And Hanto knows this, and he's like, well, he knows this man, and maybe it's best not to tell him, not just to be sure. But guys, it doesn't take a brain genius to figure it out that this man is Shoma's uncle. There's no ifs, whats, buts, nothing. It all points to him. And I told you guys, I wouldn't be surprised that it turned out to be his uncle. It's just, again, I just don't like how predictable Kamen Riders sometimes be, and it just frustrates the hell out of me, as you can tell. But but Hanto is right as of right now. He's keeping it to itself as he just goes to whatever Shoma is telling him to go. So we go to the penthouse, and Gavv is once again, being crazier than usual. And now he realizes that maybe his revenge tour is pretty much the root of all his problems. Because if it weren't for his revenge tour, Lango and Glotta would still be alive. Well, we all know that Lango's still alive, but everybody assumes that he's dead. But in any case, he assumes that if he didn't do A, B, and C, then the family would still be together and whatnot. But let's be honest, guys. He's right. He is definitely right. It's all his fault because his hunger for revenge led him to betray his family by telling the president all the dirty secrets, to the point where the president overthrew Lango's authority, which caused him to be defeated by Shoma. And then Glotta took over, and then she got killed. I mean, honestly, whose fault is that, really? Yeah, Jeep, you got it right. It's your fault. Everything is your fault. And he was about to transform into Sheeta just to talk to Sheeta's ghost. But then he realizes that, wait a minute, I can't use this hideous Gavv, because if I use it, then Sheeta will also have it, and it's nasty. And he just like stopped himself and like, no, I can't do that to Sheeta. No, this thing is hideous. And again, his revenge tour not only caused the eventual deaths of 2 of his family members, but also forced him, well, it wasn't forced. He made his choice to get the operation and get that Gavv. Every time he looks at the thing, he just gets reminded of Shoma. You have a piece of Shoma in your stomach. Even though it's like a corrupt, darker version, he still finds it to be hideous. And he's like, no, I'm not going to use this on my beloved Sheeta. No. And then his wife shows up, and Jeev asks his wife, like, hey, do you think I'm taking the right path here? Because my revenge tour has made me do things I didn't want to do, but I have to for the sake of revenge. I wanted to get payback. I wanted Lango to feel the same pain as I did, just get some paybacks. But ultimately, it killed him, air quotes, and also Glotta. Glotta is dead. Like, I don't know what to do, and Sheeta's ghost is haunting me. And Lizelle, I mean, she's the worst person to ask for some advice, but he has nobody. And so she said, and I quote, well, I know things have changed a lot. I get it. But you know what? You have me. And Lango and Glotta got what they deserve. And guys, I hate to break this to you, but Lizelle is right too. Lizelle is right. Glotta and Lango got what they deserve because of their actions. If they decided to step away from their, candy crack company, then they will still be alive. Sheeta will still be alive. Uncle Dente will still be alive. And but they made their choice, and they ended up, Glotta ended up being dead, and Lango is a hobo now, wandering the streets of Tokyo, just plotting to how to get the Stomach family back to its former glory. Which, a side note, this is like a cool idea. Is it going to happen? I don't know. But I believe that Lango, as strong as he is, he cannot take down the president alone. So I have this feeling that Lango will seek out Shoma, Rikita, and Hanto and be like, look, I don't like teaming up with you guys, but we do share a common enemy in the president. Let us take him down together. And of course, Lango will backstab it in the back once the president is dealt with. But that's how I'm looking at this, because Lango, as powerful as he is, I don't think he could take down the president alone. And can you really trust Nave? Can you reveal yourself to Nave and be like, look, I have an idea to take down the president and take our power back? But, like, how can you do that? So, Lango, he is smart. I know he will find a way to bounce back, because I want him to succeed and I want him to be the final boss, because I feel like it needs to end with him. I don't want Nate to be the final boss, and I definitely don't want the president to be the final boss. But I don't know. I just get this feeling, this idea that Lango, he's going to have to swallow his pride, his ego, and probably ask Shoma to help take down the president. Is it going to happen? I don't know. To me, it could lead towards that way. But Lango, I don't know. I don't know how stubborn he is. If he really wants his power back, then he needs to have his half brother to help him, because there's no way Knave will backstab the president. I mean, he's the type of guy, or Newt, will backstab anybody, including his family. Which, look what happened. He sided with the president instead of his own family. And again, it all goes back to bad parenting. That's just me. Where did I leave off, guys? Where did I leave off? Jeeb and crazy wife. So yeah, Lizelle said, well, they got what they deserve, which is true. And you have me, my beloved husband. So don't worry about it. With me by your side, you're on the right path. Just relax. And he said, I just want to be stronger because I still want my revenge. I'm like, oh, man, Jeeb, come on. You just said that it's your fault. Your revenge caused the deaths of your two siblings and throwing your family under the bus for the president. You threw your company away. But no, he's just like, I'm going to become stronger. I'm like, okay, all right. Oh, my God. I want him to stay alive, guys. I want him, there's fates worse than death, guys. Death is too good for this kid. It's too good for him. I want him to wander on the streets as a hobo going crazy. And I'm sure Shoma, he has a good heart, and I'm sure he doesn't want Jeeb to go all crazy, wandering the streets of the human world, and just like, okay, Jeeb, I'm gonna help you. I can't. Yeah, you caused a lot of harm and you did murder people, but you know what? I can't let you live like this. You need help. You need help. But I don't know. That's just me. I want him to be alive, to be all madman and sees Sheeta's ghosts everywhere, and I don't know about Lizelle, but I think she's gonna be dead. Anyways, so we go to Shoma and Nikita, and they spot the hooded man. As once again, the hooded man shoots this mind-controlled gun at a poor civilian at some lake or pond or river or whatever. And so they chase the hooded man to the stadium area. And then Hanto comes in, blocks his path, and be all like, stop right there. Who the hell are you? And, he tries to unmask this hooded man, which he does. And it's revealed to be Dr. Nick. Dr. Nick has returned, but not in the way you think. And Hanto was like, I can't believe you're back after all this time. Like, what the hell are you up to? And just grabs him by the shirt and whatnot. And then he gets face pawned by Knave, just pushes him. Oh, man. Hanto doesn't take a break. Like, he just, But Knave shows up and explains that this is not the Dr. Nick that you know and loathe. No. He is nothing more than a zombie now. More frankly, he's like a Franken zombie, because it turns out that he used Dr. Nick's corpse and transplant parts from the dead guy Newt onto, Sugar, Dr. Nick. And lo and behold, he became, a zombie Nick. Zombie Nick. He is equivalent to Adam from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The only difference is Adam had a mind of his own. Dr. Nick, or Zombie Nick now, doesn't have a mind of his own. He's just a zombie puppet and just, waiting for the command of Knave. He commands Zombie Nick. And so, yeah, And Nate was all like, well, look, I mean, he wanted to become the ultimate life form, so in this case, I gave him what he wanted. The only difference is, I think Dr. Nick would want to have a mind of his own, not like a zombie, just, on the whim of Knave of all Ganyuts. But yeah, that's his fate, Zombie Nick is born. And we get to see this awesome transformation from all three Kamen Riders in their final forms. And then we see a new form from Zombie Nick, and with all the red eyes and, zombie-like. And we get to see him, fight all three Kamen Riders in their final form. And you have to, think that, well, fighting all three of them in their final forms is like a death sentence, but not in this case, because Zombie Nick, thanks to Knave's modifications, he can hold his own against Shoma, Hanto, and Rakita. And Hanto was like, wait a minute, how can he be so strong? How's it possible? And Knave was just like, yeah, me right here. I not only I made him into a zombie, a mindless zombie, but I also made him powerful just to withstand you guys. It's all me. And we get this funny scene with Knave and Zombie Nick just grabbing Hanto, and we see him, briefly swinging, giving the heap ho and throwing him, over a building. And not necessarily a building, but you see him giving the heap ho. And then, Zombie Nick shoots him with the mind control gun. Of course, Hanto's like, you seriously think that's gonna control me? And you see him punching himself in the face to wear off the the negative effects of the mind control. But Zombie Nick shoots him a couple more times, and unfortunately, we all know what that could lead to. Yeah. And Shoma goes after Knave. You see Knave defend himself using this acid. And then Nikita shows up and decides to shoot at Knave. And then we get a scene out of a horror movie. You see the possessed Hanto grabbing Shoma from the back and takes him down with him, almost as if Hanto is dragging Shoma and taking him to hell with him. That's what happened. Not necessarily hell, but it's just, man, it just came out from a horror film, a scene where, I don't know, Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger just comes in from behind and grabs his victim and just drags him to the depths of hell. Pretty much like that. And so, we get to see Hanto versus Shoma for a bit, and then Rakita comes in and be like, what the hell are you doing, Hanto? The enemy is Knave. And then Shoma points out, no, it's not Hanto. Well, Hanto right now is mind controlled, so that's why he's fighting us. And as Knave was briefly watching his handiwork, he decided to make a retreat and fetches his zombie friend, and we see Zombie Nick just crawling back, climbing to where Knave was, and just like a zombie, just like, and then just goes away with him. And the scene ends with Hanto, with his ice punch, and that's how the episode ends. Well, it's a lot of reveals in this episode, but was it surprising, shocking reveals? No. It was things that I already knew, especially when it came to the Candyman and how he just frequently shows up in a couple of episodes, because why would he show up in multiple episodes if he's not important? And it turns out that I was right, that there is a connection between, Shoma's mom and the Candyman, and it's revealed that the sister that was gone missing is Shoma's mom, and apparently Shoma has an uncle, like I always knew. And so Hanto is in a tough decision where he either keeps it to himself until Shoma is ready to to know, or would he tell him right away? But he can't do that because he is mind controlled right now. And Nave created Zombie Nick, and he is in his control. He is no longer the Dr. Nick that we knew. I assumed that the hooded man was Kay, the baby, but no, there's no baby. And I honestly thought too that maybe the hooded man could be a copy of Hanto. I mean, Dr. Nick made copies of Shoma. Could it be possible that the baby could be, a copy of Hanto? Because in a weird way, Dr. Nick viewed Hanto as a son, but, a son that he could use as a tool for him to improve upon himself. And he did open his hands, his arms open to him to come back and, hey, let us experiment on each other and we could become the ultimate beings on Earth, which of course Hanto refused, and he indeed killed him. So yeah. And then the president now wants to pursue world conquest, which it's not going to work out, obviously. And even if it did, there's still the matter of the countries to come in and, push back the Ganyu threat. So, I mean, Mr. President, I think you really, really need to reconsider world domination, because humanity will find a way to push back, and they will annihilate any species that they will decide to, conquer their world. It's true. Because can you imagine having a nuclear weapon, and just going into the Ganyu world? I'm just saying. This is like, Rohan, Gondor united against Mordor, and, eventually, Mordor, Sauron was defeated. So, yeah. And then Jeeb, becoming more crazier than ever, now says that, oh, it's my fault that they're dead. Yeah, it's your fault. And Lizelle, yeah, she's right. Lango and Glotta got what they deserve. It's true. It's all about truth and obvious reveals. And Nave, my God, you're such a snake. And you're using Dr. Nick's body in order for just, to be like a Ganyu zombie, Ganyu bee, I don't know. But Jesus. And you can tell that this whole relationship between Dr. Nick and Nave was all about business. It's all about the name of science. And I wish... This is another problem that I have just for this show especially, just specifically. That I wish they didn't kill off Dr. Nick so quickly when we could have learned so much more about this man. And they could have just killed him off around this, since we're heading into a 50s now. And we're heading into episode 12. Episode 42. Oh my God. I don't know what I'm saying. But we're going to episode 42. And if Dr. Nick would have still be alive, I would say just kill him off like in episode 46 or 47, But I wish we could have learned more about this man as to why he decided to tag team with a Ganyu who obviously is prejudiced towards humans. But we all know it's a means to an end. If one person or a Ganyu is like, okay, you have, serve your purpose now, I no longer need you and I will have to dispose of you, then, that's that kind of relationship. But again, I don't know why the writers decided to kill off Dr. Nick so quickly, especially when he had his own writer form. He had his own writer form, and then in the next episode, he got killed off. Only to come back as a zombie. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm sure there's going to be a spin-off, but if not, it's just one of those Gavv mysteries that unfortunately will it will never be solved, or and again, this what happened to the baby, because there was a baby. And two, this is just a side note, there's no missing persons in regards to Kenji. They haven't called the happy parade asking them if they've seen Kenji. Not at all. It's like the family, like the people who worked in that Japanese store just forgot about this poor man. For real. In any case, I have to end it here, or else I will still ramble. But thank you so much for listening. And for you guys who have seen the episode, which I hope you did, give me your thoughts and opinions about the episode as a whole. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did you, just like me, knew that, the Candyman was actually related to Shoma? You knew it all along? Was it obvious? If you dislike the episode, let me let me know in the comments below, and just like, if you had the opportunity to fix it, what would you do? Did I miss anything? Even though I have my notes in front of me, I may have missed a couple of things here and there. Give a like if you like it, and please subscribe. And I will see you all on the other side of Oblivion. Guys, we're heading to episode 42. Oh my god, I don't want to see the show end. I really don't. It's it's sad to see a good show see a good show, go, but there's always the reruns, right? Johnny, guys. Johnny.